Product placement. That is good. What is up, everybody? Hey, this is Blake with Fat vs. World. Thanks for joining me today. I am doing my follow-up and I'm doing my Q&A today. You all gave me some questions. Quite a few of them were funny questions. Quite a few were very serious, very deep, heartful questions. So I'm going to answer them one-to-one. I'll start out funny and I'll just kind of offset it. Funny, serious, funny, serious. We'll kind of have a little 1-2 punch going on. So let's get right into it. So starting off funny, we have Susie Silva Ramos who says, what's the weirdest smell you have ever smelled? So I actually pump grease for a living, so I have a kind of unique plethora of smells that I smell on a daily basis. The weirdest smell I have ever smelled, at my job we actually pump out a company that cleans pans, and they use this specific kind of a acid on it, and we have to pump out a large 5,000 gallon vat of it once a month. And that first time you smell it, I don't know if it's the weirdest smell I've ever had, but that first time you smell it, it takes you aback a little bit. It's kind of like, ugh. And if you ever smell it again, you go, oh, that's okay, that's Pangle right there. It's, you notice it. And if Lane B. Martin's watching this, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But that's probably one of the most unique smells that I could just easily recognize. So next up, I've got Jason Ricker, and he says, what was the hardest part walking around OU with your body painted? I can't really think of one. I didn't have any hard problem at all with that. Shirt on, shirt off. I've always kind of been this way. I've just always kind of been like, I've always been like in your face, kind of over the top. It was very comical to me, and everyone's reactions was pretty funny, but I guess maybe to answer it, the hardest thing was not touching other people. We didn't really foresee that we would be in crowds that were like maybe a foot from each other. Like, we wanted to walk around and we did want to get some interactions, but we didn't know that we would be like within maybe an inch or two of people. In fact, I have on the video, I'll roll the clip, but in slow motion you see me almost get struck by this woman, and I'm trying my best to dodge her. I'm leaned over, and she's leaned over, and her husband actually reaches trying to make sure that she doesn't come into contact with me. I didn't see it. Lane told me about it, and it was kind of funny, but mostly it was staying away from other people. I didn't want to get them covered and stuff. So next up we have Brando from the channel Brandon Sapp. He asked me, do you have a pineapple pen? No. So now we got a serious one from Brando. Brando says, when you get demotivated, how do you snap back on track? It really is kind of like a snap, if that makes sense. When I get off track on something, I usually go way off track. I don't usually like drift a little and come back. If I go off track for some reason, I go way off track. And that's kind of probably falling in line with those binge problems that a lot of fat people have eating wise. They think, oh, I've cheated, I'm just gonna keep on cheating. I'm kind of like that in many different aspects of my life. If I go off a subject or off what I'm doing, I just kind of take off. To snap me back, I really have to hit like a realization or go, what am I doing here? It's kind of like a slap moment, and you just go, what the heck? And it gets me back on track. So mostly it's just like looking at how dumb something is, like how bad I've gone off track and how silly and dumb it is for me to have done it. That's what kind of gets me back in gear. Or seeing other people that are just going through things fluidly and not having any problems at all, that snaps me back on track too. So next up, Damian Littleton asks, when's the last time you accidentally pooed your pants? This is pretty funny. Damian knows quite a bit about me. He is my brother-in-law. And he knows that I have had several instances where I get stuck somewhere, something hits me, and I'm just like, Over the years, I've actually done several different like quick fix type fat loss strategies. I've not eaten, or I've juiced, or I've done just water cleanses or anything like that, and trying to do those things while also being a CDL driver is not very easy. Actually, it tends to get you in some pretty unfortunate situations. So I would honestly, and this is transparent, honestly, the last time I pooed my pants, I would say was around 4 months ago. 4 months ago, I had to go, and I had nowhere to go, and I was trying to get somewhere instead of like going behind a tree or a bush or something. And it's unfortunate, but actually about 4 months ago it happened to me, and that's all I got. I told you I'd be transparent and honest. That's what happened. Elizabeth Reich Bowman says, have you always been so bold and full of personality? You seem to have zero fear, and I love it. First off, I love you even more or equally than you love me. I appreciate it for the question, ma'am. So yes, I kind of have always been like this. I've always sort of been this over-the-top thing. When I was younger, I didn't have much fun at home. My home life kind of had a little bit of dreariness to it. It was a little bit, it wasn't super fun to be at home. So I would always be out and about or at school, and if it was boring, then I had plenty of boring to do at home or unfun to do at home. So I always wanted to be over the top, and I wanted to give someone something to talk about. Even with this channel, with the walking around OU with no shirt on, I want to give someone something to talk about, and I don't have any interest or care in shame or stuff like that. That doesn't bother me. I think you have one shot at having a good time on this earth, and you should, within reason, have a good time and let the rest of that stuff, just be danged. I mean, just forget about it. If you want to have a good time, be over the top, be you, be just everything that you can possibly be, and be it to the world. A lot of people say dance like nobody's looking. That is completely false. You should dance when no one's looking a little bit, and when someone's looking, you should dance harder. You should go out even more if someone sees you. Don't go, oh, excuse me. Don't do that. Just go crazier. Like just turn down for what? Just go nuts. I mean, I know everyone's gonna be watching this. If you were all sitting here, all 12 of you who are watching this video, if all of you were in here watching, I'd be doing it even more. So it's just about perception and not worrying what other people think, and I have always been that way. So next up, we've got Lane Bean Martin with, what is the angle of the dangle? What is a pie chart, or why does a pie chart offer no pie? And can you smell the number yellow? First off, the angle is 32 degrees to the left. Secondly, you are eating the wrong pie charts. And thirdly, so back to Jason Ricker. During Fatverse World, what has been your biggest challenge? Not becoming discouraged. I feel as if I'm able to be fairly funny, be very comedic, and just do kind of whatever I want or whatever anyone wants. And I felt like if I did that well enough, quickly enough, and had some good success, that I could slowly build up YouTube at a relatively quick pace. I felt like I had some good kind of like insider information. I had watched and dealt with YouTube for a long time. My good friend, actually where this mug comes from, Daniel with Arms Family Homestead, he has a lot of stuff to tell me, a lot of things to just kind of give me ideas on, and I'll message him and be like, man, I was kind of hoping I could get a little further than this by now. And he said, well, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And that's about the truest statement you could ever have for such a thing. It really is something that it took him years to get built up to where he is, and he went, it's like an exponential pie chart, an exponential graph, and you have this small amount, and then you have this huge arc. Now, sometimes you will have people who are found for some reason very early stages, and they'll have a big jump right in the beginning. But I've been doing this for 4 or 5 months, so it's not any reasoning that I haven't, quite yet hit the algorithm just right, or had a video that just grabbed someone's attention so much that it just lit on fire. But I do believe I will get there, and I'm just going to try to keep going. But yeah, my hardest part with this is not seeing progress of any kind of significance. So Danny Straka has another question for us. He says, what color does a Smurf turn when you choke them? So we are actually kind of like an off-white or, Caucasian, or like a pale to some degree, but when you actually are feeling sick, you don't turn green, you turn like a more pale color, and you lose some of the color from your skin. So the actual answer would be a paler color of blue would be when they're sick. Next up, Misty Keener, she says, hope this isn't too personal, but have you ever considered bariatric surgery? I don't think there's an obese or overweight person in the world who has not considered bariatric surgery. Although it has its dangers, although it's invasive, although it has, possible late-term complications with you along the road, Everyone would kind of like to be skinny or good looking as quick as humanly possible, and bariatric surgery to some degree takes out a lot of the I can beat myself and sabotage myself element. You can't honestly eat that much. You can only eat X number of crackers, and you have to do it certain amounts of times a day. You eat too much, you'll just throw it up. So I believe every heavy-set person has considered bariatric surgery. In my case, I don't believe that I would like to think, oh, I could just have a surgery and it would help fix it. At the same time, I'm 29 years old, so I'm not at such an age that it's not the only reason I'm heavy is me. Now, that can be true for someone who's 20, 30, 40, 50, 5 years old. You could say, oh, I'm heavy because it's my fault. But I'm young enough I can do something about it. If you're late 40s, 50s, 60s, yes, you can also do something about it, but it's also very difficult. So in my case, I don't believe it applies. I would not do such a thing. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, then if you've already lived some of your life, if you're willing to take some of the risk of the complications of such a surgery to increase the chance that you are going to become healthier and skinnier, then I fully support that decision. But I personally have not ever really considered it to the degree that I would do it. Everyone thinks about doing it. It crossed everyone's mind, I think. Brando had another one. He said, in the word scent, is the S or the C silent? This is kind of a foolhardy question. The C should not be silent. It never should. I believe the C should always make K. So, I don't understand why any letter in the English language is silent. But if you were to try to teach someone who's Spanish, right? And you said, okay, here's 3 words, say each of them. A Spanish person would say skent, scent, and kent. Okay, and that's how it reads because you're taught C makes K. And then you get into all this Shirley English where I before E except after C and la 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 la. And you get all these stupid little weird rules and stuff, but I believe it should be skent, scent, and kent, honestly. Kents instead of cents. Things like that, and I don't really understand why it's not. So I would say the C is silent in sense because English, I don't know. So Ann Carell has one that says, who inspires you? So I'm not super certain how to answer that. I don't actually have anyone who inspires me. I know a lot of people who are inspiring, but inspiration for me, I don't really know how to answer it because I don't necessarily have inspiration. I have kind of like spontaneous motivation. I was just okay with being heavy until relatively recently, and I was like, you know what, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I gaining this weight? Why am I not doing something about this and just being healthy and happy? And I chose to do something about that, and that's why all this happened. I don't necessarily have inspiration. I do like seeing other people being go-getters and getting out there and busting their butt, so hard work is more of an inspiration. So I'm going to use one more from Jason Ricker, and he says, what is your biggest pet peeve and why? Like when someone is disrespectful just kind of uselessly. A lot of my, like Brando and Melissa, my wife, they give me a hard time because if I'm trying to show someone a YouTube video or a clip or something on Facebook and I'm showing it to them but they're like texting on their phone, or they like look at it and then they look back down, they look back up, they look back down. Or if I'm trying to show you a movie or something, I don't mind if you don't find it funny, but like choosing to not look at it or choosing to like listen to it but not see it. A lot of people want to like do things while you're having a conversation. Danny Robertson, the one who was the coach, the football coach in the video just recently, he and I had a conversation about many people nowadays feel the need that they don't have to make eye contact when they're having a conversation with you, and it's just a matter of respect. You're showing me that I have your full attention, you have mine, and I just don't like disrespect stuff, and I may be disrespectful in some instances, and I hope that everyone calls me out if I do it. But if I had to say something that really bothers me quite a bit, it's the fact that people are okay with being disrespectful. And, like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, saying you're welcome instead of, like, no problem. I'm kind of bad about that one, too. No problem has become a good thing. And if you break that down, you're saying there isn't a problem, which isn't saying thank you or you're welcome. When someone says thank you and you say no problem, that means there's not a problem for some reason. You're not saying you're welcome like, you're welcome, thank you. That's, this being a kind gesture. And And although we've had a couple serious ones in a row, I'm going to finish on a serious one as well. Amy Caroline Cater-Blount says, what is the most important thing you want to teach your children? If my daughter gets nothing at all from me, like if she never gets anything of mine, I hope that she can retain or grab any ounce from me of a desire for happiness. And I'm going to explain that a little bit. So when I say desire for happiness, I mean that is actually the ultimate goal in this world. So I hope that she doesn't fall short of her goals that she sets and become depressed. I hope that she doesn't allow some instance in her life or something she's driven to consume her beyond the desire of happiness. A lot of people just are chasing money. They're chasing job promotions. They're chasing these different things that they've always wanted or they think that they have to have. You should be motivated to do many things. You should want to hustle in any given part of your life and make money, get advancements, anything at all. But it should not come at the cost of happiness. You should still, whatever you choose to just fully passionately fly into, you need to be happy. If you work your butt off every single day, if you bust your freaking butt to get something, then you should still be happy at the end of it that you busted your butt for it. Don't bust your butt at a job that you completely hate. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, don't be around people that don't make you happy at all times. Just when you desire to live, it is not about making money. When you desire to have all these different things, if you want to make that happen, then facilitate it, but continually make sure that you are staying a happy person. And difficulty does not mean it's not happy. Working out at the gym, you should still be happy about it. You should know you're getting better. You should know you're being happier. Everything you do should try to maintain a lifelong happiness. At the end of the day, if you haven't lived a long and happy life, you haven't lived. You've existed, you haven't lived. Whether you have 14 cars or you have 14 bus tickets, whether you have you own your own house or you rented an apartment your entire life, whatever way you choose to go, make sure you are happy. There's people that are hitchhikers that don't even want to have a home. They don't want to have an income, that are happier than many of you watching the video. They're just happy with their life. Whatever it is you decide on, whatever it is you pick that you want to be your happiness, just maintain it. Always be happy. And it'll transcend into all these other different aspects of your life, your children, any loved one, people you work with, people you're around, your psyche, your decision making, all is affected by how happy, upset, anything you are. Now you're going to be more upset, more mad, more unhappy about certain things, but try to maintain being happy. On that note, guys, this has been the Q&A. I thank you so much for participating. Everyone who gave me some questions. Anyone who wants to be in a future one, go ahead and drop down in that comment section. Give me some more, and I'll try to tag it on. Maybe I can get like one a month or something to that effect. I am going to be giving an announcement. I thought I'd be doing it in this video. I'm going to go ahead and do it in the next video about kind of the current stage of an Even Bigger Loser and what I'm going to do about it. But anyway, guys, I appreciate it. You all have a great day. Eat less, move more, live the dream, and we will see you in the next video, guys. Take it easy.